Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Wednesday, May 27th, 2015, and here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front, things beep. Yesterday, of course, here in the States, it was down. But today in the States, it's up because yesterday it was down. Kind of like oil. Remember, oil was way up, and now it's going down. And gold, after it went down, it's flat. And you know why the markets over there in Europe are doing okay? Not a lot of activity, but okay. Greece will make its next IMF payment, officials say. Yeah, that's right. Cut back those pensions, raise those taxes, pay the International Mafia Federation. Hey, you borrowed the money, now you got to pay it back, you know? Borrow the money. Dirty deals done by banks. IMF makes significant shift with vote of confidence in renminbi. Fund says Chinese currency is no longer undervalued. And the move amounts to a big vote of confidence in Beijing. And the yuan at a critical time. It also puts the IMF at odds with its biggest shareholder, the U.S., which insists China continues to draw an unfair trade advantage from a yuan that is considered, quote, significantly undervalued, although it's gained 25% against the U.S. since it was allowed to adjust upwards within a narrow band a decade ago. Front page of the Financial Times. Why is this important? Well, because remember what I read yesterday about what's going up there in Canada, how they're letting that yuan be a currency to deal with. And you got a lot of Chinese up there too. Yeah, just go out to the West Coast. China boomtown near you, because the money's flowing out of China into countries all over. And another little story here in the Financial Times of interest. And before I read it, you know what it's going to be. Consumers keep fuel savings securely in their pockets. Disappointing retail figures have cast a shadow over global recovery despite oil windfall. Again, they keep doing it. Yesterday and again today. Oh yeah, we're going to be stingy. We have shitty jobs and no jobs at all. The cost of everything is going up, and we saved a couple of bucks with gas. And it's a windfall. Windfall. And speaking of windfalls or blowhards, former Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said that China's economic slowdown should not worry markets and there was no risk for a hard landing, and emphasized that a move to raise U.S. rates would be viewed as a positive sign for the world's largest economy. Hey, why not raise them now? Because he goes on to say it would be, quote, anticlimactic. Yeah, as I said, blowhard. And he's talking at a private sector forum in Seoul. Wonder how much money he got paid. Well, you know, former Fed chair now works with that hedge fund, Citadel, and he's pimping for Pimco. Yeah, the bond trader. What a disgrace, man. Breaking news. Breaking news. Yep. You should have it now. Your Trends Monthly. And it ties in perfectly from the Pimp for Pimco. Bernanke. Could you imagine that? They're writing about this guy calling the shots of what's going to happen, and everything he did he called wrong, and he sold out this country. He sold it out with quantitative easing. He sold it out with record low interest rates so he could work for the big guys, because that's the top trend in your Trends Monthly. a neo-feudal society in the USSA. The death of democracy. It's the elite, man. It's the economic elite like Bernanke and the gangs that he works for. All those guys that nobody ever goes to jail for their misdeeds, for stealing trillions of dollars when you add it up, and no heads roll. Neo-feudalism, when you got guys like Petraeus. You know how he got to be general, don't you? He married the daughter of the guy that used to run West Point when he went to school there. That's right. And they made him general. General? Yeah. And you know what happened to him? You remember that progressive progress in Afghanistan? You forgot that, huh? And look what they did, the punishment that they give in a neo-feudal society where you have a financial and political elite. They got different rules for them. That's right. So when he gave classified documents to his mistress, I guess he got tied with the general's daughter, huh? He did something generally new. He only got a little fine. It was fine because he's a member of the political elite. And we have the economic nobility. That's right. That's your top story in your Trends Monthly. And how the laws are two separate set of laws. And for we the people, they keep robbing us of due process and equal judgment and equal judges. It's at every level, the tide's against us, which is another big story. How a few retailers own just about everything. And, of course, the conference is coming up on June 6th, a few seats left. And speaking of the conference, big news, the one coming up in September to coincide with Occupy Peace on September 20th. Great news. Dr. Paul Craig Roberts will be here as one of the keynote speakers. And he doesn't travel anywhere. He hates to travel. But he's coming to Colonial Kingston to be with the subscribers of the TrendsJournal. And a lot more in this Trends Monthly. Entrepreneurial opportunities, one after another. Again, history before it happens. And again, the price has not changed. It has not changed. So, when you look at the opportunities, you can see where they're going. Here's a little story. Pizza Hut and Taco Bell have announced they'll be removing artificial additives from their products. Yeah, yellow dye number 6 and whatever else they're going to pull out of there. Of course, it's only minor little moves because there's a lot more to it. Entrepreneurial opportunities. Here we are in 2015. Look at this TrendsJournal. 1994, the clean food trend. Look at this top trend for 1996, the clean food diet. Entrepreneurial opportunities, history before it happens, ahead of the news and on top of the trends, and read the one when you read the back page and you see the order form down at the bottom. It was an 8 to 10 page newsletter. We are charging the same price we were doing over 20 years ago. And now you're getting the Trends Monthly. Trends this week. TrendsJournal. Trends in the news. More and more and more. And of course, the Trends conferences. So, we're giving as much as we can. Please do what you can do to support us. Give a gift subscription. The more we get, the more we do. And that's not a Harvard line. It's right in front of you. So, Moving on to some other news, because here we are, just to make the point. Business and tech, Wall Street Journal. Water, water everywhere. Oh yes. Water via the web, not the tap. Nestle is the biggest seller of bottled water in the U.S. with an estimated 34.9% share of the $13 billion market at wholesale prices. And now their water home delivery business grew twice as fast as shipments to stores. Old news. Old news. Go back to trend tracking in 1988. Again, on top of the news and ahead of the trends, I was one of the first people to call the bottled water trend. And I'm bringing this up because bottled water and clean food, it's the future. Entrepreneurial opportunities exist. Remember, go back to your Trends Monthly. Look at how a few companies own so much. There's entrepreneurial opportunities in there because they narrow down the SKUs because they consolidate. And product lines that they think are too small to make money on, they don't go after them. So that's where the opportunities are. But of course, it's a tough game to play because I talked yesterday about Charter Communications buying Time Warner. Well, here you go. Just 3 companies, Comcast, DirecTV, and the combined, if it happens, which it probably will, Charter and Time Warner, will control 82% of the revenue collected by the cable and satellite industry. Go back to the other story. Neo-feudalism. The economic nobility and the political elites. And moving on to some other news. Bill to end executions in Nebraska is vetoed. Governor faces vote to override decision. Quote, "This is a matter of public safety," Governor Ricketts said. At the news conference, it also is a matter of making sure the public prosecutors have the tools they need to put these dangerous, hardened criminals behind bars, and then kill them. It's great, huh? Well, I got news for Ricketts there. He probably got some rickets because the cat's clearly out of his brain. It's not going to help the public by executing people, because if it did, Saudi Arabia breaks record for number of beheadings in only 5 months. The numbers just keep getting better. 88 already. Yep. All of last year was 87, and we're only midway. Whew. And good news from your president, you little liberals, you weenie little liberals, you disgusting human beings that call yourself liberals. Obama approves sale of 10 MH-60 Seahawk helicopters to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And did a $2 billion arms deal. Isn't that great? More military for the mass murderers, I say. Keep bombing away in Yemen. Beheaders, bombs. That's the American way. Don't forget to vote. And Netanyahu thanks U.S. for blocking U.S. measure. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Secretary of State John Kerry on Sunday for preventing a UN measure that could have forced full disclosure of Israel's nuclear arms capability. And President Obama said that his support for Israel will always be unshakable. Yep. That's right. Hey, it's unshakable. Look what they did to Gaza. You like that one, huh? Unshakable. Why should Israel... They should not have to tell what kind of nuclear weapons they have. They is chosen. And here's how good they chose. World Bank says economy of Gaza Strip may collapse. The report said 40% of Gaza's nearly 1.8 million Palestinians lived in poverty. And people are suffering from, quote, war-related psychological trauma. So there you got it. Just another day of terrible news, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. And tag, you're it. You're subscribers to the Trends Journal. You're getting information you could use to prepare, survive, and prevail. So, it's a long road, and we're just beginning it. So, thank you very much for your support. Please do whatever you can. Spread the word and spread the information. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's Trends in the News.